Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mathian, and
I'm Damien.
that's right, we got my brother on the podcast today. Let's go. It's about time. What took you so long? Hello and welcome back to another episode.
Not
Not having time?
Yeah, I'm Asian.
I
just
like
busy
this
with
show.
school, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, happy to have you. We have so much to get into today. We have a bunch of headlines. It was an eventful week for anyone who is not under a rock. We also have a review for Moon Knight, episode 1, as well as American Psycho. We finally held out for you. So
Yes,
you're
sir.
rocking your Bateman cut right now. I see you.
Yep.
I see you. All right. Well, without further ado, who wants to get into the first story? You want to? Hey, you got Ezra? You want to lead us in with that? Oh, we'll start with it. Okay, hold on. Well, I'm gonna talk about. Let's start on let's start on what's on everyone's mind. The Oscars. There's no way gaping elephant.
No, you start.
We have to talk about
Yeah,
it.
you start.
I don't really need to explain the situation other than like it's been all over the news. You know what happened. I don't have to explain it to you. I want to talk about the public discourse around it. When it first happened, like that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, everyone and their dog was so polarized. Like on Facebook, wherever you looked,
Yeah.
and like in like defending Will. I'm like, dude, what's
Yeah.
your position? Like, talk to me, Big Apple.
I think they're kind of both in the wrong.
Sure. In what way?
So, I think like Chris Rock should have taken more consideration with the joke. I mean, at least in retrospect. I mean, obviously he made his apology and he takes ownership of it. But I think Will probably also could have done better.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Obviously, because I mean he slapped him.
Yeah, I mean you assaulted someone
Yeah.
over some words, hurtful words, but words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like, I mean, I get it, like the whole freedom of speech, have that. I get it. There's like some voodoo stuff you can't say at the Oscars, but like Chris Rock's a comedian. That's his
Right.
job.
Right.
Supposed to warm up the crowd. I'm like, yeah, not every joke's gonna hit, but I don't think like that. Like no matter like how bad it was, unless he was like, I don't know, because it was more like a playful insult rather than
It just,
like.
I don't know. Everyone was defending it. Like they were like, you can't talk about her hair like that. It's a medical.
Yeah, but you
disease."
can't just assault someone at the
That's my
Oscars in
point,
front
though.
of
Right,
millions
right.
of
It's
just like,
people.
you
That's
can't do
that's
that.
worse than.
Yeah, but it was an emotional moment for
Yeah.
Will,
Yeah,
obviously.
I get that. Yeah.
And I'm not defending it. I'm just saying like it was baffling to me how people were like they were going out of their way to defend it. Like, well, maybe he shouldn't have made that joke, and it's like maybe he shouldn't have. Does that mean he
Right.
deserved to get attacked?
Yeah.
Like physically?
No, definitely.
But people were making the argument like, oh well, that's what you get. That's what happens. And I'm like, you guys are crazy. Are we barbarians here? Like, no, there's got to be some standards, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It just blew my mind how many people were like kind of defending him. Stand up for your man. It's just like she can't stand up for herself. Like
Well, cause in like there's like in the new like leak videos like her laughing after Will slapped
after
Chris.
yeah, the alternate angle.
So yeah, so like she wasn't even like hurt by the joke at all. Like she wasn't mad or sad or anything. She was
What I
like
think it was
pretty cheerful.
is Will lashed out because obviously she was annoyed by the joke, right? But she's not gonna cry about it. And
Yeah.
I think Will is so insecure in general. Like we're learning so much about his problems he's went through. Like all his
Mhm.
dirty laundry's been aired out. It just like when he saw her react like that, he felt compelled to do something, and he broke like that because he's so insecure about like their relationship and him protecting her, trying to not let anyone shit talk their relationship.
Yeah.
I think I'm saying I think that's what motivated him, and that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
think so,
like
too.
chivalry shouldn't be dead, but like
Yeah.
don't be a barbarian about it,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that just makes you look desperate and stupid.
Yeah, it
in
was
front
just
of millions of people.
the culmination of a lot of unfortunate circumstances, and here we are. Also, I thought there's always been some like tongue-in-cheek rivalry between them. Like I think Chris has commented before, like Will's kids are taking all my kids' roles, and I heard that somewhere in the tabloid. So I was like,
Okay.
But all the best to them, and I don't think there's the beef's that deep. I think it's just
Don't have an open relationship. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
But I wasn't mad about that. I was upset about it, but I was upset about how people were just like defending it in a way.
I like the
Defend us all over
memes.
some words.
I loved it.
The
for
memes were
memes.
fantastic. There's so many.
I
I'll
love it.
show you later. We don't.
Wait,
Yeah,
Big A,
yeah.
have you seen the Conor McGregor one
No, I haven't.
with should I show it to him because I have it saved? Nah, never
Show
mind.
it to him
It's fine.
after. But we can describe it.
But it's from his when he broke his leg.
Broke
That
his
fight
ankle?
with what's
Right, with Dustin Poirier.
Poirier, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was Will going like, keep my wife's name out your mouth, and then it cuts to Conor going, your wife is in me DMs.
That was good. That was good.
Oh,
You got the do you have the Ezra article pulled up?
I can pull it up.
Pull it up for me real
Yeah,
quick.
I'll pull it
While you pull that up,
Sure.
we should talk briefly about Bruce Willis stepping away from acting. Kind of just like a damn press F to pay respects.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Big
Another A disease, aphasia this time. But yeah, long story short, he just
Another what?
another A, like a disease that begins with the name A.
Oh,
You know, like
okay.
alopecia is in the news this week because of Jada.
Oh, okay.
And then aphasia starts with A. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of A diseases.
He's got Alzheimer's, right?
no, not
No.
Alzheimer's.
Aphasia is the loss of the ability to emote and express like emotion.
And sometimes you can't even talk. Sometimes
Yeah.
your ability to speak
Oh, damn.
coherent sentences.
Right.
Stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
So yeah, it's just really unfortunate, and it turns out that his all the last movies he's been pumping out was in the hopes to like secure the bag essentially for his family, you know, make sure he's providing for them.
Right.
So like, cause some people were kind of like, you know, in the reviews like, man, he's losing it, he doesn't all have it there. His like, performance sucks, this and that. But it's really just him like securing his family's future.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, that's noble right there. Like that's cool.
He
That's
was like
unfortunate.
he was like a big star in the 80s.
Huge, yeah, huge
Yep.
in the 80s. Most people know him from Die Hard, which you said you hadn't seen yet, right?
No, I haven't. But I've seen like Pulp Fiction and
Yeah.
Looper.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
he
those
was
are
good in
great
those
too.
too. But
Yeah.
Die Hard, such a classic.
Die Hard is
Yeah,
glorious.
the best Christmas movie ever. Some would say.
So I've heard. Yeah.
No, but that's unfortunate. So respects to him, and you know, hopefully, it's an
Easy retirement.
Yeah, well, for his family.
Oh.
Hopefully they get through it. Is what I'm saying. All the best to them. You got Ezra pulled up. You want to spill the tea on him? I wanna
yeah,
talk-
so,
Urza Miller?
So he got arrested for assault and disorderly conduct and harassment
Yeah,
And
in Hawaii.
in Hawaii. Yeah. Dude, this guy, he is all over the tabloids and whatnot, and he's like, there's all this controversy around him. He still won't get dropped. I'm surprised he hasn't been canceled yet. Like, there's so many opportunities to recast him, and for Warner Brothers to let him go, and they're just holding on. They're just sunk their teeth in him, and it blows my mind.
I wonder if they'll do anything now.
I don't
There's been
know.
so much.
There's been a lot though, right?
Yeah.
Like we can go through it later and look at all like the list. I'm sure there's at least like five or six things in the last couple of years alone. he's
Really?
done.
Yeah.
I thought this was like his first.
No, he's had stuff before. He's like, I remember there's a video of him like yelling or cussing out some woman.
Yeah. I think he like
Was he
chokeslammed her or something.
He chokeslammed
Yeah.
her.
What?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Bell said at $500, and I was like, that's nothing. That's chump change. But apparently, he's in Fantastic Beasts, which I don't watch either.
No, and there's a new one coming out too.
Exactly, and
Haven't
like
seen
he's
it.
so ingrained in these franchises.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard to remove that if they're trying to get rid of him. I'm just surprised it hasn't happened sooner. Like he cannot stay out of trouble, on the whole.
Yeah.
Um,
I wonder what they're gonna do with Flash.
I don't know.
Like,
If
do
they're
you
gonna-
think it would make sense for them to?
write him out.
Well, obviously, like he's the main star of the movie,
Of
so
this
it's hard to do that. But maybe I don't know,
In the
like
comments,
Like kill him off
editing
or
no,
the
they're not
different-
gonna edit
different
him out for the
timeline?
entire movie. No.
different timeline, baby.
Here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna release the movie, and then maybe if I don't think it depends on what the studio's pressure to do. But if anything, they'll issue an apology and be like, you know, we're taking actions. Da 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 da. He probably be
Yeah.
off the press tour or do very very limited press
Mhm.
because that's just gonna hurt the brand more. Everyone keeps asking him about all these troubles instead of the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
So they're probably
definitely.
gonna kick him off the press tour, like keep him to a minimum there. But man, this guy is just like, I'm surprised he's not like banning DC more. Like I don't know. The
I don't know. DC is not really notorious for like their,
they're star actors.
I guess, star actors.
They're all right.
They're kind of just
Henry
like
Cavill and Gal Gadot and like Aquaman haven't messed up.
those are like the only like big names that
Yeah.
like that have only like not messed up.
Hopefully, The Rock revives the faith in the DC franchise. We'll see. You know, because Dr. Fate's also going to be Sam.
Right. Yeah. With Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Ezra Miller. Can we talk about the Spy Kids getting a reboot at Netflix
Yeah.
and how utterly crazy that sounds?
Yeah. So it's being directed by Guillermo, or it's going to be directed and written by Guillermo del Toro.
Okay, that puts a little.
Or no, wait, no. I'm sorry. Not
Faith rescinded.
Robert Rodriguez.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
So
I'm going
the
off the top
creator
of
of the first ones,
So I think how involved was he in the first ones?
or is it?
Well,
like,
he created the franchise.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
he-
that's the same director.
I'm pretty sure he
that first
directed
three.
all of them,
Yeah.
if not
Nice.
the first three.
Oh, wonderful.
At least,
Well, at least
I
it's
know it.
okay. Yeah.
Well, it is Netflix though.
That's what I'm concerned about. So I don't know how much freedom he's gonna
Well,
have.
Spy Kids only has like, I mean, like they're big in like the early 2000s, but I think they would have enough creative freedom to like around because like compared to the first three movies,
No, that's true. That's
so I don't
true.
see like why like they wouldn't have creative freedom
They
considering
better.
that they've made like worse shows on there.
Well, the thing about creative freedom and all that is that like when I didn't know that he was gonna be on it again, right? But I don't know how many hands are gonna be in the pot, so to speak. And I get worried because like you hear things about like, for example, Nickelodeon and the Avatar movie we're not gonna talk about. Like when that kind of thing happens, when the studio just gets in there
Right,
and
yeah.
messes everything up. Like Netflix has done that with a couple of things in the past, here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think the Avatar take though was all that inspired. So
No, but what I'm trying to say is I'm glad that
Yeah.
some of the original creators on board, and that like maybe that gives me more faith that it's not gonna be complete garbage. Because
I think so, but also specifically with the Spy Kids movies, they've kind of fallen off.
especially the fourth one, which I
Yeah.
don't even count as a Spy Kids.
Bro,
movie.
that
No,
yeah,
is that
it's a
even
completely
canon?
different family.
yeah, it's the original trilogy, and then there's that.
Well,
one.
it's got the original actors from it.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's a good movie. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
they got John McHale from Community.
That does not excuse anything. No.
Okay.
And then our final story, if we have nothing else to say about that, is the censored Falcon and the Winter Soldier re-upload that Disney kind of slick put in there. Like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, the story is this: there was a couple key scenes in the series that were like basically digitally recut, and there was like a moment where the scientist, I think it was like Wilfred Nagel or whatever, gets shot by Zemo. Here, look at this picture, and like you know how it's all bloody and stuff right there.
Yeah.
Well, like that's completely removed, and his eyes are closed just to show that he's dead. Like, so they took out some of the gore. There was a part where Bucky threw like a some sort of metal spear into some lady's shoulder, but instead in the recut it just bounces off and like falls down. Yeah. So like they're PGing it or whatever, making it PG-13.
Like I get it, it's for kids and like that's Disney. They're multi-billion-dollar kids, so but at the same time,
But it's like he was saying the other day. Didn't you mention how they just brought the mature section to Disney Plus?
Yeah.
get Daredevil, Luke
Well,
Cage.
in a couple nations, they haven't brought it worldwide. Not.
Okay. Even that being said, though, like why put that on here when if you it doesn't make sense where like you would replace it a year after everyone's already seen it.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
shows new people here and there that show up, but like why are they censoring it? And then like if it is that mature, can't we sign in to see it? Or like where's the do you think they're gonna split it off and have a PG version? You don't need parents' permission to watch it, and then the gory version for us. You know what I mean?
I think that would be a great concept for them to have that that separation, like having that ability. Because I guess it kind of makes sense for Disney to want to censor that sort of stuff.
Sure.
It is odd that they would want to do that after the fact.
Right.
But to have that option now that they're deviating between R-rated and PG-13, like now that they're having that on their platform, it could make sense.
I wonder though. That brings up a larger question. If that's their intention, I think it's good because then both groups of people, I guess, can enjoy most content in the same in a close enough way that's age appropriate or whatever. The family. But at the same time, where do we draw the line? Like, okay, blood this, blood that, but like, yeah, they're gonna dub a bunch of curse words because I mean, Hawkeye was a family show, but then there were still curse words in it, right? And there was still violence. Kingpin, you could say, was nerfed, right? But like, if you're drastically altering the plot or key plot points or like actions and reactions and consequences, are we getting the same story? Even if it's happening, are we telling two dramatically different stories? I wonder if it might go there one day as an extreme. And what that means.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I mean, I think what they're just tackling is, like particular types of violence shown.
Just like blood and gore.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
For sure. I didn't think it was that bad to begin with, but I understand. We're going to take a small break, and then when we get back, we should get into Moon Knight Episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sounds like
a plan. All right, and we're back with our review of Moon Knight Episode 1 on Disney Plus. So let's set up the latest Disney Plus show. We meet the painfully uncool Stephen Grant, Oscar Isaac. We meet the painfully uncool Stephen Grant, a timid British museum gift shop employee who thinks he has a sleep disorder. Stephen ties himself to his bed every night, seals the door so he can check to see he hasn't been wandering the streets of London during his slumber. He's still exhausted though, and he regularly gets into hot water at work for being late. and having ideas above his station. That's pretty much how the story starts out. He's passionate about ancient Egypt. That's a whole thing. I have zero context for this Moon Knight character at all. Like, I'm leaving it all to episode 1. Teach me all about him and what he's about.
Yeah.
And it's pretty convenient for everyone's sake that he's so enamored with Egyptian mythology, and he works in a museum that has all that, because it proves to be useful later this episode. But I had like initial thoughts. I had no idea what to expect with this. I really enjoyed the concept of like us just getting lost in this bumbling buffoon's shenanigans, and like him trying to figure out what's going on with his sleep disorder. And I love especially how we didn't see the Moon Knight character, the alternate personas and stuff, until the very end. Like, I love how he would freak out, spaz out, and then like scenes would be done. And
Yeah, I thought that was really well illustrated.
that was fantastic. I love being from like the lame person, the lame Jekyll and Hyde, like the lame persona's point of view. Point of view, you know what I mean?
Well, this was like several different personalities.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to that. I
Yeah.
know in the
It
comics
was
there's
like-
like 5.
Yeah, I think it was like around 3 or 4 that we saw, right?
Well, I wouldn't be so sure. I feel like first of all we have the Steven personality,
Right, Steven.
and then who's the and then,
And
we have,
then
like, the
they were
god, right?
asking for Mark.
They are asking. Yeah, there's
And
a few
then
of them.
it was the voices in his head, which I'm pretty sure was
At least 1 or 2.
well, no, that's not a personality. I think it's the god that controls him.
Gotcha.
I can't remember the name.
No worries. Pull
Was
that
the
up.
god that one that was?
Yeah, the one in the white threads that only you
Yeah.
could see. That Egyptian god,
Yeah.
the one with like the bird beak or whatever.
So that's who controls him.
Yeah. So, and then they kept looking
Weird.
for Mark Spector, the mercenary who seems to be working with the Egyptian moon god, the Khonshu.
Khonshu. Yeah, Khonshu.
Khonshu. Yeah. So, yeah, no, it was weird and eerie and kind of like not horror, but like it was just kind of unsettling. It was just kind of like a thriller in moments, especially when he was tripping out and he saw him in the hallway, and then that old lady came into the elevator.
Mhm.
Like, I loved playing all of that up.
Yeah, I loved how like she was uncomfortable just as much as he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. What were your impressions? I mean, did you enjoy it?
Oh,
On the
on the.
whole?
I mean, it was good. I definitely have to keep watching it,
Sure.
but I'm definitely more of an action guy, so I always want things to hook me, and like I like that. What this did is it wanted to hook you. It wanted you to come back for more because it didn't want to give you too much.
Yeah,
So
breadcrumbs, right?
that's what I don't like, because it gave me like blue balls basically.
Okay.
And because like I read like Shonen Jump and I watch like so much action stuff, like
Mhm.
I always like to like see it, and then like for them to just egg on me like this. So.
What I really enjoyed as well.
I was just
going along
annoyed.
with that. I like the leading us on, especially like when he had that date with that one girl. It's like, okay, which personality of his asked her out and then got her, and then like, she was upset, and then more importantly, like all of the skills. I guess he was Moon Knight for that big ice cream truck scene on the side of the highway or whatever in the Alps.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was blacking out.
He was
and
blacking out. Dude, oh,
probably
that
in
was
and
great.
out
Like,
to
that was
yeah.
all creative, and like the focus was still him, as opposed to all the amazing action that was going on around him. Like, I really
Yeah.
like that. So I mean, it was a great first episode. What did you think of Ethan Hawke as like the villain or whatever, the main
Oh, dude,
antagonist?
the opening scene,
Yeah.
where
Set the tone,
he
didn't it?
he steps into the glass filled shoes.
Oh my gosh.
That was
That's hardcore. That's
yeah,
hardcore.
that really set the tone for the whole show. Like
That was
it was
great.
Why did he?
it was a great scene.
Yeah, Big A. Why did he do that?
It was like his ceremony thing, right? Like it was
Something like that.
like some kind of ritual that he was going through.
I thought maybe he might be paying his dues or paying respects to the gods, but yeah, it looked like a ritual of some sort. And he kept walking with those. Like, I don't think he ever took them off.
No.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore. How does he not bleed out? You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's whatever he drank that like clear
Oh, interesting.
clear liquid.
There's a lot of questions. There's more questions than answers.
I don't know. I don't know much about this. Hero.
I don't either.
It's
But
all a
that's,
mystery.
it's fun to speculate. I don't know it. You know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I saw a trailer for episode 2, and it looks like he's getting into a lot more shenanigans. It also looks like he's getting into meeting was it Layla from the phone call from the secret stash phone, and blew up his phone. Been calling him for
Right,
months.
and she called him Mark.
We essentially, who's
Yeah.
looking for Mark. We essentially missed his origin story, so to speak. So I think we're gonna get flashbacks of that going forward, and like how he got his abilities and what happened. So there's only 5 episodes left. It's really a
Mhm.
mini series, so it has the potential to be really amazing. All right, but yeah, solid episode 1, solid. Well, let's set up American Psycho, shall we? So
You did.
set in the late 1980s, the film stars Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman, a yuppie New York City investment banker who is gradually revealed to be a serial killer, preying on homeless people, work colleagues, prostitutes, and finally members of the public. The film also stars Willem Dafoe, Jared Leto, Josh Lucas, Chloe Sevigny, Samantha, etc., Reese Witherspoon, so many other people. Um, I mean, initial thoughts. The only thing I knew from this film, like the only reason I knew about it, and for most of us here, well, me and Damien, I can speak on that, is memes. Like, we've seen so many memes. There's been a huge renaissance.
Oh,
of-
okay, yeah.
I guess a lot of people from our generation are discovering this movie for the first time
Yeah.
because around that time we're being born or whatever, and it was a pleasant surprise, and I enjoyed seeing the context behind all of the different formats and fonts and stuff that lie within it.
And some of the memes are pretty creative because they match like whatever was in the movie.
Yeah, like the similar context or whatever. And I think the reason why it's been such a public memeable cultural phenomenon in that sense, this little cult classic, is because like the black comedy translates well to even today, and like everyone's twisted sense of humor, just taking deep things and making fun of them and coping with them by using humor.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated the black comedy. I'm just gonna point out things that stood out now, and feel free to jump in. I think it was interesting how Bateman knew about Ted Bundy's first dog being named Lassie. Like he's looked into other killers, such as himself. Killers, I say in quotes because it's so open ended, right?
Right,
We'll
right.
get into that later. Another thing that stood out is that he hosted his longtime friend and a prostitute in Paul Allen's apartment, so that adds fuel to the fire that he also killed people. Like these location changes, these tactics he's using. Like, what's real, what's not, you know what I mean?
Because I know that it takes place in the 1980s, like you, of course, and that was the business hippie age at the time. It was more like if you weren't like a big businessman balling out cash, going to big fancy restaurants, then you ain't nobody. Basically, that's basically how it was back then.
Right. So
So I love that because this movie was almost like a satire comedy of the men of that generation. Like, because if you notice the women in that movie had a sane mind the whole time. Like they wouldn't go with Patrick Bateman when he would try like to bring him to his Paul Allen's apartment or even in the thing or in the limo because they just didn't trust the guy. And like I think it's crazy because it's kind of like a feminist film in a way because it's kind of like showing like these women that like fall prey to like the men of like this generation when like because Patrick Bateman plays that man of like a sexist pig, even with all of his other friends. Like they say in the movie, there are no girls with good personalities.
Right.
So I think like, especially since the director was a woman too, like I think that also had like a key way of like her like seeing like the way how she wanted the story to play out. Because I did some research into the book too, and apparently the book is very boring. Like even the author himself said it because he wrote the story so it would be a shallow way of showing how humans are materialistic and how we always want to gain more. He didn't want you to connect with the characters or understand or have any deep connections to them because that was the whole theme of the book at the time of when he written it. It was supposed to show a shallowistic part of ourselves.
Sure.
So that's why like I think the movie did a really good job of capturing that, especially with like Patrick Bateman and showing the woman. And it's like a satire comedy, but also like an empowerment like film too. So
yeah, it does a lot. I mean,
it does a lot. And yeah,
talk about what you said, where you said, well, everyone's focused about materialistic things and they're focused on looks and appearances. That's a huge thing that I noticed that I appreciated this film showing us was like, remember how there was a whole scene dedicated to talking about like business cards?
Right. Yeah, I love that scene. That was great.
They're essentially everything's that's the whole point. It's like, well, mine's manila white, mine's off white, mine's cream white.
Yeah.
Text. And he's like, fuck, look at his text. It's like, it's just so
it's all about Patrick Bateman's point of view.
Yeah. And how like he's obsessed with like these really minor details and besting people every
because if you looked at the business cards, they all had the exact same thing. They're all vice presidents at this what's it called? Pierce? Is that the name?
I think that might be the company.
And
it's like a legal firm or something.
Did y'all catch it when he was in the cab with his fiance and she said your father owns the company?
Yeah.
Y'all caught that, right?
Yeah, I caught that he essentially doesn't have to be there or do any work.
I think that played like a big part, and like I get this is a big leap forward, but remember when he kills Paul Allen in the movie, of course,
right.
Jared Leto. And like as we get towards like the end when they go back to Paul Allen's and you know how it's like deserted and stuff.
Sure.
I think like he wasn't I think he actually did kill Paul Allen. Like I think he actually did because when he came back, the old lady was just so meticulous to him and like mind your own business. Like there was no ad in the paper. How are you here? And like because Patrick Bateman's father is like such a big man and a wealthy man, of course, who owns the company. I believe it's like it's possible for him to make his own employees disappear. Like, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Like he just
Yeah.
because that was the whole reason why Patrick was jealous of Patrick, because he had a better business card and he had a
Paul.
Paul.
Yeah.
He had he had the Fisher account too.
Mhm.
Just like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting because
And that,
go ahead.
well, yeah, that was like his whole drive. It was his jealousy throughout the film.
he wanted to fit in.
Yeah, he just wanted to fit in, and that was like, it was cool because like it makes you think like, is like the fact that he wants to fit in, why he kills the people, or is it the fact that he kills the people, that makes him want to fit in? Like, is that what separates him, or is that
Because
the uh
It all depends if it's real.
is that the cause?
It depends if it's
Yeah.
real, because I feel like if his dad owns the company, he doesn't really have to do a lick of work in his job. He can just
Mhm.
be there and
yeah,
put
you have
papers.
no ambitions or
No
goals
ambitions,
because
no goals.
everything's
He's not even self-made.
No.
He's
Yeah.
literally like he just was placed there, and he didn't have to work for anything. So that probably contributes to him feeling empty and feeling like he needs to compete, and he needs to prove himself and be better than everyone else, and live up to my expectations.
Yeah.
And whether that motivation, I think the motivation to be better than Paul Allen is real, and whoever else he's competing with.
Mhm.
It's just the reality of it. Is this in his head, like in his drawings, like his little secretary found at the end?
Right,
Or did he
right.
actually do this, and because his dad is so wealthy, he can make people
like
disappear?
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the bigger thing. Like, I don't
Mhm.
doubt his motivations. So, but it's so. I love it. I love how cerebral and like weird
Because
this is.
it got me tripped. It had me tripped out, bro.
bet.
Because in the beginning, like where he's like putting on the facial mask and going
Yeah.
through his routine and everything's so specific. But like when he says like I'm simply not there and like and stuff. But like when he's in the cabin, he's telling his girlfriend that he wants to fit in. Um, like when he tells her I want to fit in, I was saying like who is that talking? Because he says in the beginning like though you may feel my hand gripping flesh and bone, he's like I am simply not there. There's an idea of a Patrick Bateman, like proving that he's living like a second life in his head. Like everyone around him like doesn't see him. Like even in the book and in the movie, his own lawyer calls Patrick a spineless coward who couldn't even hurt anyone.
But is that the truth, or is that the lawyer's perception of it?
Mm-hmm.
You know
Yeah.
what I
Oh, that's
mean?
what I'm trying to figure out. Is it the real Patrick Bateman, or is it like this like assumed killer and like insane man that we met? You know?
Sure. That's the fun in
Yeah.
it. That's what I really like about it. I thought it was interesting in the scene that where he tried to kill his secretary Jean, and this is arguably the only woman who's actually held a real conversation with him, or took like a genuine interest in him.
Mhm.
He in that scene he tried to kill her so many times. He was like looking for stuff, looking at knives, looking for duct tape, like just trying to find the tool to do the job. And because she kept like sincerely and earnestly answering his questions and giving thoughtful responses, I feel like that tripped up his rhythm. Whether this is real or not, I'm talking about in that moment, right?
Yeah,
in
yeah.
his reality, whatever that is, that tripped him up, and like he almost like he was gonna kill her with that nail gun.
It was the call he got from that guy's wife that he was
Yeah,
sleeping with.
yeah, exactly.
So like maybe because he knew she was like I guess like a good natured person, like there was no reason. Because I noticed in the movie he says when he's like breaking up with his fiance Evelyn, Reese Witherspoon, he's saying like nothing's wrong with me. I am in touch with humanity.
Yeah,
It is you and your
Yeah.
friends that aren't. And then he leaves. He's like, I gotta go return some videotape. No, but that
Yeah.
really hit me because when he said I am in touch with humanity, I thought of like some Joker type stuff. Like he actually understands like how humans are and like how the materialistic like greed is, and like his friends, and like she says, your friends are my friends and your friends are my friends. And
so you can have them.
it's like yeah, you can
I
have
don't
them
want them.
because it's just like
Right.
yeah, and like that's why what really like connected like with me of like okay, so he does know like what's right and wrong, but kind of just like gives in to these like weird like ambitions.
Why do you think he doesn't kill his coworker in the bathroom? Is it because he's trying to save face in real life?
What do you mean?
Remember when like it turns
Yeah,
into
I think it was.
The gay guy?
the gay guy? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it had to do with
I think he was just homophobic.
maybe, yeah, maybe he was homophobic.
Because the look of
but-
disgust on his face was like, and he washed his gloves. He
Mhm.
was wearing gloves.
He
It was,
washed his gloves.
like yeah,
That's a
that's,
detail. That's a detail I
Yeah.
forgot.
that's pretty.
Wow.
I don't think he likes gay people. Well, then again, this is the men of a generation. Like he's 27 in the film,
Mhm.
so he was born in like what, like the like late
was
50s.
Probably born in late 50s, early
Late
60s.
50s. Grew up in a household of like post World War II. So, yeah.
But a wealthy household, right?
Wealthy household. Yes, very wealthy.
Does it being real or not being real matter? That's the question I need to ask. And you too, if you have thoughts on it.
in
Does it
terms
matter?
of what?
The
Right.
ending. We understand the ending.
Yeah.
Like we understand that,
Right, he gave himself up.
he gave himself up and no
But-
one was
but
hearing it. No one
nothing-
would have it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether he did or didn't do those things, he gave himself up. And it felt like many times in this film he wanted to be caught. He was itching to feel something more.
Mhm.
And it just that the catharsis, like he says at the end, never comes. He never gets what he wants. He's just relegated to being empty.
Yeah.
So does it matter if everything he did was actually real and they covered it up, or if it was in his head and he has to live with it? Do you think that adds or subtracts from him as a person? Like, what does that mean for us?
I think that would be a pretty wild imagination.
You think so? Yeah.
So I think there's definitely, I mean, there's got to be some kind of reality to
Do
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
definitely do believe he did kill some people in the movie because there's too many like even like the detective, like how do you explain like the disappearance of
That's
Paul?
true.
Like did he just dream up a
Uh-huh.
whole detective and like 3 separate locations and like it's
Right.
just there's too many like scenarios and I'm like so he wasn't with Paul Allen that night, but like he was too. It's all confusing because at one point I was trying to look for in the movie like where like his mind might have started deteriorating.
Sure.
And like there wasn't really like any real sign of it until like maybe after like the Christmas party with Paul Allen, because I'm thinking, well, maybe did he kill him or did he? Because Paul Allen's movie at the end of the apartment is like being renovated.
Right.
So I'm like, so so that makes sense that he would be dead and someone would cover it up, but because of his mind like deteriorating, it doesn't. It's very like hard. And you have to like come at your own conclusion.
I feel like it has to
Yeah.
be real because, like you said, that lady was acting really funny with the apartment. Well, I don't know, but that could be interpreted both ways, though. Like maybe she's like, "You're just a weird stranger. Like, how'd you
Yeah,
walk into here?"
but he was
Mhm.
dressed formally too, so like.
Love it. I love and I hate the mind games we're being played. You know what I mean? I thought that scene where he goes off the walls and like he tries to stuff a cat into an ATM or he's about to, and then
Yeah.
he shoots at the cops and then he kills that little guard at the front and he runs up to his room and confesses
Right.
everything to his lawyer.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
He didn't kill the second guard, right?
He didn't kill the first guard. He killed the second one.
No, he killed the first one.
He didn't kill the second one. Oh,
because he
you're
forgot to
right, 'cause
check
he
in.
had to sign in.
He forgot to
Yeah,
sign
he
in the
checked
first
in,
time,
that's
and he was
right.
like,
What was with that? Was that just the corporate bureaucracy he was used to, or like what was that weird? Why did they play that? Why was that important?
Why would he? What?
He didn't sign in the first time and he killed the guard.
yeah.
Like why wouldn't he kill the second one?
Why would he go out of his way to play nice to get up to his hotel? Is it to his office suite because he ran into the wrong building the first time, or why was there 2 buildings? What was all that song and dance about? What I'm trying to ask you.
Building.
Oh, you think he mistaked the first one? Like he went into the wrong building the first time?
It could
Yeah,
be that
maybe.
his mind, like, yeah, he didn't
Oh.
know where he was going.
Fractured. I just thought it was interesting the fact that he had to do 2 entries and he killed someone. He didn't, or maybe that wasn't on purpose. Is my question. Maybe those 2 things did happen, or
Right.
didn't. Like it's like Schrodinger's cat. You know what I mean? Like he both.
Oh, okay.
did
Yeah.
and didn't
Yeah.
kill
Right.
someone,
Right.
And that's adding to the confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because
That's exactly.
because
I'm
after
I'm
that-
pretty sure that's it.
Yeah.
Because it just felt so out of place and weird to me.
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's
because
intentional.
after that scene, the same morning, he calls his assistant, he's like yelling at her from the telephone. booth,
Oh.
and he's like, just whatever, like just cancel the dinner, like freaking out on her.
Right.
And like I get it because that causes her to go into his office and like look at the sketchbooks of all the
Mm.
stuff. So I had a theory of like all the killings that he thought he did, maybe he was just like sitting there and like drawing them because the drawings were the exact like things we saw and like how he killed them,
Right.
like
Oh,
opening
right.
them up and like
Yeah.
slicing them up.
They're
Like
detailed.
the details
They
were
were.
the exact same. So I was like, maybe did he like draw all of this in his head? Like he just doesn't know because his assistant saw it all. But we can see like throughout the movie he becomes more agitated with why he hasn't, I guess, gotten caught. It's almost like he wants to get caught.
That's what I was saying earlier. Like it felt like he was itching and begging like a few steps of the way.
He just wants some
Mhm.
like attention. Oh, he wants to be different from everyone because if you notice in the movie, like Jared Leto's character, he calls him he mistakes him for someone else, and
That's
even his
true.
lawyer at the end
Yeah.
mistakes him for like I think like Drew or something.
But that happens a lot between them. I noticed is that a lot of people were mistaking other people for other people, and it's because it's commentary on like how everyone's so similar because they're trying to fit into a certain mold
The
Right,
more
while
drip,
trying to stand out.
the
Mhm.
drip speaks out more than your actual self,
Exactly.
your
That-
status. Yeah,
Couldn't have said it better myself, honestly.
and that's kind of sad because that's
Yeah.
like the whole thing of like the 1980s.
Yeah, and like, does it still apply today? You know, you try so
Yeah,
hard
yes,
to
and no.
stand out while fitting in. It's crazy. Towards my conclusion, I was writing that like the range on Kristen Bell is
Mm.
on full display. It was fantastic. I was like
Yeah.
having seen him in The Dark Knight before this, like I felt he could have played a great Joker. But I kept thinking towards the end of it, or like a version of him.
Right,
I was
right.
like, damn, he's got it. Like he's got that little intensity to him, and I felt like he understood. I felt like I saw parallels with 2019's Joker in this film too. Like I felt like I
Mm.
saw some things here and there, and I was like, man, this whole commentary on
Yeah,
society.
they almost had a different celebrity take the role besides Christian, like Leonardo DiCaprio, almost
Right.
Johnny Depp. That would have
That would have been. I wish we saw another scene with Willem Dafoe. Like I wish we had that
Yeah.
deleted scene. He was so. It was so good seeing them interact. Can't be like that.
What was in the lead scene?
I think he was in that red club with him. I don't know the contents. I haven't watched
Oh,
it,
okay.
but it would have been nice if it was in the original cut.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we needed. It wasn't intentional. Like we didn't get any resolution with the detective.
Mm.
I mean, it would have been cool to see, but I think it's on purpose. So you don't know what happened. So it would have been nice.
Right,
to see.
right.
Was he dismissed by a superior? You know, like a chief or a sergeant? Like, hey,
Oh, okay.
drop the case.
Yeah, to
or-
fill out his story
or
as to
did-
why,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
why he gave up.
Fill in
on-
the gaps, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like, why did he stop pursuing Bateman, right?
Oh, okay.
You know, it would have been interesting to see that, but I guess it didn't play into the larger thing. Also, I just like Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, he's great.
He's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, what are your final thoughts on it?
Willem Dafoe.
On just everything about
Oh.
American Psycho. He's like, he's
Oh.
deemed worthy.
I was waiting for him to go debate and be like, I know it was you.
That would have been cool.
Just final thoughts like on
Yeah,
the thing.
just put a bow on it.
Definitely, it is a good movie for like a mind, like
Mhm.
like comes to your own, kind of like filling your own gaps. Like a lot of movies don't do that. They have like a beginning, middle, and end. This
Right.
one's like
Yeah, I like that it leaves you thinking about it.
Is
That
it?
was my favorite thing about it.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that you had to go back, maybe rewatch it, maybe reanalyze things together. I liked it. I like the mental puzzle. I'm not always in the mood for it, but I do like it. I love the
Nah.
performances.
It definitely adds to the story too, because it always keeps you guessing.
Yeah.
Because it's just like since there's no like clear ending or like way that story is told,
Mhm.
it's kind of like you gotta figure.
That's what I was mentioning when I said like the parallels of 2019 Joker, the unreliable narrator. Like, what am I
Yeah.
seeing? Is it real? Is it not?
Mhm.
You know. So, but yeah, the mind games, the existential, like psychotic tendencies are great. I just love them. And I think that's about it for today. For Media Munchers, I'm Mathian.
And I'm Adrian.
I'm Damien.
All right, we'll catch you next time.